Something's going on. Let's see. Okay. Hey, can you guys hear me? Oop. I got it. Sorry about that. I had my channel open. I had to close it. Hey, beautiful people. It's good to see you all. Happy Saturday. Um, I hope that you all have had a better day than me. I woke up to some salacious drama, drama bigger than the whole Anton Mika debacle that we see on these very ghetto YouTube streets sometimes. But today I want to talk about something productive, and I hope that you all are ready to have this discussion with me. And if you can't see, um, today's title is How Elections Really Work. Okay, so the first question I want to ask you all, for those that are online right now, is do you vote? I don't want to know what political party you're with, um, but do you vote? Do you vote in your local elections? And do you vote for, of course, the bigger election, like, you know, ver- Trump versus Kamala? Did you vote in that election? Did you vote in previous elections, and have you stopped voting? Because today, my beautiful people, I'm going to be explaining to you all, how elections actually work. Because for a lot of us, we do not understand the election process, whether it is in the big major elections or if it's some of our smaller local elections. Okay. So, welcome back to Smell the Roses, your space to slow down, reflect, and hopefully grow. And what's up, Kennard, the DJ? It's good to see you. I'm happy to have you here with me today. Um, if you haven't hit the like button, please consider doing so. And if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe. Okay. What's up, Jack? Attack 69. What's up, twin? What's up? Hey, Pooh Man. It's good to see you. Pooh Man is dropping my Cash App. Yes, Cash Apps and super chats are welcome. As always. And I appreciate you, Pooh Man. Thank you so much. So let's get into it. Now, I live in Georgia. So the examples that I'm going to use today is out of the state and the county that I'm currently in. So I'm in the state of Georgia, and the county that I reside in is Gwinnett County. Now, my husband and I, we do own properties in both Gwinnett and DeKalb County, but for today's purpose, since I'm starting to see all of the signs around town in my county, I decided to use the county that I'm currently residing in as an example. Okay. And we'll get into that as I get into today's talking points. Okay. So let's be honest. A lot of us talk politics, but very few understand how elections actually work, how primaries influence outcomes, and what are ballots, which you see here on screen. Um, Basically what's on the ballot. Usually when I go into vote, there's a whole bunch of things on my ballot that I'm like, what the hell is this? I didn't even know we were going to be voting on vaping machines, or vaping stores, or liquor stores, or whatever your county is trying, whatever new thing your county is trying to propose, or your city is trying to propose. And we don't actually know who holds power locally. So, since I live in Gwinnett County, Georgia, we're going to use my county as a real life example today. Okay. So, when we talk about elections in the US, we usually think the president the US Senate or the US House of Representatives, but that's just literally the top layer. There's a state and local government, and sometimes those offices affect your life more directly than anything in Washington, D.C. So at the state level, Georgia legislators control state taxes, public schools, transportation, and healthcare policies. Okay. What's up, Lord Catrez 000? He says, Republicans all the way, Trump 3028. Oh my God. Okay. I don't think Trump is going to make it to 3028, but we could try. Okay. And shout outs to you for being a Republican and being proud of it. Okay. Um, Over here at Smell the Roses, we don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. We just want to educate people on civics. Okay. So, yeah, welcome to Smell the Roses. Okay. So, at the local level here in Gwinnett County, officials control the mayor, right? And the city council, the county commissioners, sheriffs, school boards, and judges. Okay. So basically, these are the people who decide our property taxes, our school budgets, and the road maintenance and local law enforcement priorities. So when we vote locally, that's literally real power around me. Okay. This is not Washington, what's going on the hill. This is literally what's going on in my backyard. Okay. So local power is literally your real power. Okay. And that should come first because you should care about what's going on in your backyard, right? A primary is how local parties choose their candidate before a general election, right? So we know this. Closed primaries equal only registered party members can vote, right? So Lord Catraz is probably registered as a Republican, and in closed primaries, only registered party members like Lord Catraz would be able to vote. And open primaries are open to any voter, and that any voter can choose a party ballot. Okay. And why does this matter? Primaries usually have a very low turnout, meaning a small organized group can determine which candidates even make it into the final big general ballot election. But in Gwinnett, that could mean deciding which Democrat or Republican candidate will run for State House District 106. Okay, or who appears on the ballot for Public Service Commission in District 2. All right, because all of us live in certain districts, and these districts are run a certain way. So I'm using Gwinnett as an example, but what I want y'all to do today is to take notes on how you're going to find out these things for the state and the county or state and city in which you live. Okay. Or in Gwinnett, they decide which candidates move forward in a city level race. Okay. This is so important. All right. So if I was to skip this primary, I'd be skipping the most influential election of them all. All right. Because literally, again, this is the things that are going on in my backyard. All right. This is not, again, this is not news that we're going to be seeing on CNN. This is going to be on my local Fox 5, on your local, whatever local station that you watch when you turn on the news to find out if your school is closed. This station would be telling you about what's going on in your county. So this is important, guys. Okay. What's up, DeAndre? It's good to see you. What's up? Yes, and thank you, Panel Verse. He says, come on, people, let's go and hit the like button to support the show. I appreciate that very much. Yes, please hit the like button, guys. Please, please, please. And after I go over my notes for today, I will definitely open up the panel for a few of you to come on and tell me, do you vote? Are you excited to vote? Maybe this is your first time voting. Or, have you just decided that this is just not your thing at all and you don't care what happens in your backyard? I would love to hear from you all today. I'll open up the panel. I'll open up the stream for you guys to jump on, but I have to get off at 4:30 because I have to take my son to a birthday party for one of his lady friends, whatever. Um, but okay, so again, I'm using Gwinnett County as an example because this is where I live, all right, in Georgia. When I walk into a voting booth in Gwinnett County, it's not just president or governor, okay? I'll be able to see federal offices like, who's running for the US Senate, who's running for the US House of Representatives in my district. Okay. And what state offices are up for election, like the Georgia House or Senate or the Public Service Commission. An example would be District 2 right now is Tim Echols and this woman named Alicia Johnson. Okay, again, I'm in Georgia. We're talking about Gwinnett County. All right. And so I'm giving you guys real life examples of what I'm going to see on the ballot very soon. Okay. And then there's county offices. I'll be able to see who's running for sheriff, who's running for tax commissioner, who's running for the clerk of court, who's running for the district attorney. Super serious again. And then judges here in Atlanta. We've been having, or in Georgia, in the city of Atlanta or Fulton County, a lot of you guys might have been hearing about Fannie Willis. You might have heard of all of the drama going on surrounding her. Okay. And then I'll also be able to see what judges are running and if they're running for superior court, state court, probate, or magistrate. All right. These roles directly impact my neighborhood, from property taxes to public safety to basically, the way local laws are enforced around me. Okay, this is why I think you all should care about these things in your city, your county, your state. Okay, I'll also be able to see on the ballot the mayor, city council members, local referendums like tax measures or school funding initiatives. It's important to you all what's going on. If you have school-age children, right? Are they going to be giving schools in your county more money for the things that they need, like, better pipes for their water systems or a better track? Or are they going to build onto the school so that your children don't have to sit out in these little makeshift trailers that are classrooms? I know when I was coming up, my high school had a bunch of trailers that we would go into because the school took on more kids that it could actually hold in classrooms, right? That affected us. And for example, Auburn voters may select a city council member at large, but Lilburn voters, and these are little cities within Gwinnett County, the Lilburn voters may vote on local homestead tax exemptions. And then we have Norcross here in Gwinnett County. They may consider city level charter amendments. Okay. Now, I understand that these are all things that is on your part, it's going to take some investigating, because in order for me to do this show today, I had to do a lot of investigating and putting together notes to be able to talk to you guys about this, because it's not just about, understanding it broadly, like to get down to the brass tacks. I had to literally apply it to my life. Like, why does this matter? And how can I better understand what the hell I'm going to see when I go in to vote? What's up, Sandra? It's good to see you. I hope that you're feeling better, babe. I know you've been sick, you and your hubby and the kids. So I hope that you're feeling better. And I'm happy to see you here. Thank you so much for stopping in. All right. So, and yeah, DeAndre says, hey, Sandra. Yeah, we love Sandra. So Local elections here in Gwinnett often have a very low turnout, okay, sometimes under 20%. Now, we're a mixed bag here in Gwinnett County because we have a lot of immigrants, right? And then, you could consider um, it's a very large county. So I think that it's a very large county, and then we have a lot of older people. It could be a nuance of reasons of why that is, but that means your vote carries more weight than in a presidential race. Okay, for me here in Gwinnett, by voting locally, I'm choosing that but literally who runs law enforcement or who manages the county and city budgets. And we literally just talked about budgets a couple of months ago and why it's so important to know what your city or county budgets are and who is overseeing them. Right. And who is overseeing your kids' school curriculum and your schools. Okay. I met a very crazy woman during my son's time at a certain swim facility I had no idea that she was on a local school board. And this woman had some very outlandish ideas for school. Thank God that, the school board has to vote unanimously because I would have never wanted this woman to be on a school board. But, right, you learn very quickly why these things matter once you start to hear what is important to people, right? So your vote has a lot of power, and it's not always national, right? You can feel like you don't have a lot of power when it comes to the major national election, but you should know that your vote and your local election holds a lot of power. All right. And power isn't always national. Sometimes it's literally the hands of your neighborhood running for city council, things like that. And that's the part that affects your life the most. In preparation and with all of the investigative reporting that has been going on YouTube, I had to literally sit down with my job this week and talk to the ethics committee about what I am allowed to say and what I am not allowed to say here on this YouTube channel. Okay. Because I could affect things one way or another because influence sometimes has power. But in this situation, I would like to influence you to vote in your local elections because it's important, guys. Okay. So here's some challenges for my county. In Gwinnett, if you're in Gwinnett County, this is very serious for you. You need to look up your next primary date. Okay. I can drop the link for that in a community post. If there is anybody listening in from Gwinnett County, and you're interested, let me know, and I can send you some links. And you need to research. You need to review a sample ballot because a lot of us, if it gives you anxiety that you're not going to know what the frick is on your voting ballot, and you feel like because you don't know, your vote won't matter anyway because you won't be making an educated guess, you can actually find out if you can see a sample ballot through your county or city government's website. Okay. And then you need to research at least 3 local offices you've never voted on before. This will help you get familiar with who the frick you're seeing on these little posters in everybody's yard outside. Okay. There's no drama in this, no social media fighting. You're just trying to have an informed opinion so that you can participate in a way that makes you feel empowered. Okay. Because growth and empowerment, like roses and flowers, they come from pausing, observing, and acting intentionally. Your garden is not just growing because of what's happening outside. It's growing because you're out there checking on it every day. You're pulling out the weeds. You're understanding what plant requires more water than the other. My rose bushes don't need as much water as my hydrangeas. And as much as I love roses, you guys, my next flower that I love very much are hydrangeas, and they require a lot of water. But when I'm out there in the garden, if I water my rose bushes the way I water my hydrangeas, my rose bushes will surely freaking die. And this is the same with understanding what's going on locally in your local elections versus what you see plastered all over CNN about Trump, Kamala, Obama, or whoever, your mama, whoever. You like hibiscus? Yeah, hibiscus are pretty. They're pretty. I don't think I get enough sun for them, but I have been considering canard, putting them in the front left area of my yard because my neighbor who gets a ton of sun because she has literally no trees in her yard, she has the prettiest like bright orangish red color ones. Oh my god, they're so beautiful. So shout out to you for having a favorite for having a favorite flower. I love that. Yeah, so your vote is literally your petal, Kennard. And your participation is clearly your freaking power. So if you want, I can literally, like I said, send you links to some of this stuff, because it's super important. I don't want you guys to think that, things don't matter because they do. They clearly do. Like you need to learn what the hell is going on around you. You need to know the difference between a primary ballot, right? Which is so like in the primaries, you choose which party ballot you want. You want Democratic, Republican, or sometimes a nonpartisan ballot with only certain races, right? And primaries determine who will be in on the general election ballot. Okay, that's what we're seeing here in this picture, right? You see Democrat, Republican, or Libertarian, right? But in your general election, that has all the final candidates for your local, state, and federal offices. And this includes referendums, if any appear that year, right? So that's another thing. You guys need to look up the referendums, right? General election ballots are not what most people think of when they go vote in November, usually, okay? And this is important because it helps you understand what to look forward to in years to come, or, within 6 months. Like right now, we're going into spring and you're like, oh, November is so far away, but it isn't. If it's so far away and you're not doing your due diligence to find out what the hell is going on right now, you won't know if voting for who you have currently is going to be a good idea, or do you need to get that person out of there and vote for somebody new, right? The governor of Georgia is important to me, right? The Georgia State Senate, that's important to me, right? And the Georgia House of Representatives is also important because for many Gwinnett voters, this means that the district representative for our neighborhood, in recent cycles, it's been this guy named Farquhar Margual. I can't pronounce his name really well, but he ran in the state legislative races, and that includes parts of Gwinnett. So you start to understand that these legislators pass state laws and set budgets for schools and roads and decide taxes and more. And taxes affect me, right? The taxes in Gwinnett affect me. I just was, and it's very tricky in Georgia. I just yelled at a gas station that literally just opened up. I thought, hey, these are people of color. Let me support them. I went in there. I usually don't ask for a receipt because I'm like, there's no way these people will be lying to me. I don't need to really see what the hell is on the receipt. But for whatever reason, I was like, yeah, I need my receipt. And lo and behold, guess what? They had the wrong tax amount on my receipt. They were supposed to be charging me 7% tax and they were charging me 8% tax. Now, was that an accident? No, it wasn't. I don't think it was, allegedly. I didn't name the gas station, but I don't think it was an accident. I think they were banking on me not asking for a receipt and not knowing that I was being charged an additional percent. Okay. Now, that is important because we have set taxes on, and like there's a different tax in Fulton County in the city of Atlanta than there is in DeKalb or Gwinnett. And if they're charging me the Atlanta tax, then that's wrong. Now, if they're doing it ignorantly, that's fine. But the lady didn't want to bring me her manager when I asked to speak to the manager about the percentage, right? And she said something smart like, it's only 1%. And I was like, well, it's 1% that I would like to speak to your manager about. And then as the line was getting longer and longer behind me, I started talking louder so that everybody behind me would know to ask for their receipt. Because if you're going to shop here, you should know that they're charging you an incorrect tax that is set by the state or by the county, and they have an obligation to enforce the proper tax rate. You don't just let anybody charge you anything, especially when you're voting on things like the percentage you pay. Right? This is important. This is like what is going on in Chicago. And now you have Mondani in New York. What is he trying to do? What is everybody flipping out on him about? They're flipping out on him because he's talking about increasing taxes. Okay, this is absolutely crazy. You can't just let people do anything they want. And if you're ignorant, you don't know what to complain about. If I would have never asked for that receipt, I wouldn't have known that I was getting price gouged. And because I raised such a tizzy in that gas station, do you want to know how many people put down their Cokes, put down their chips, and decided to get gas somewhere else? Now, I'm not saying that they never came back. I never went back because after talking to that lady and her taking forever to get her manager to come out and how flippant he was with me, how upset he was at me for wanting to be charged 7% versus 8% tax, I took it as, oh, so you knew you were doing something shady and you just thought that us as Black people in this certain area of Gwinnett that I live in were just too stupid to understand that we're getting price gouged. Not only on the prices that you set your candy and Cokes, but also, again, when you charge us tax. I was very happy to know that one of my son's teachers were in there with me when I was flipping out, not cussing and yelling and screaming, but again, talking loud enough so that everybody could hear what was going on. And I got a really nice email from my son's teacher, or one of my son's teachers, telling me, thank you for sticking up for us. And she was like, I'm one of these people that also say, I don't need a receipt. Get your freaking receipt. Okay. Get every time someone is talking about, your money, you need to see what money is actually what you're being charged. Okay. Because it's not cool to just be willy-nilly paying for things that you shouldn't be. All right. So when you walk into a voting booth, it's not just the president or the governor. Again, it's your congressional races, your state legislative seats. I'm not really happy with Raphael Warnock. Never going to vote for him again. Never going to vote for Warnock again. Okay. It's district attorneys. Somebody like Fannie, not that I don't think she'll ever get another run at it, but I don't think that people like Fannie Willis should be sitting in a district attorney's office, right? And any judges that support her, I don't think I would vote for them again, right? It's embarrassing, some of the things that have come out with the way she spent money, with the way she went after Trump. Like there were things that she could have done, right? Going after Young Thug. There were things that she could have done that would have been more beneficial to the constituents that got her in that office. Okay. So it's just, we need to do, in order for us to do better, we have to know better. Okay. And sometimes, you just, without knowing any better, we're literally letting them run amok and do whatever the hell they want. And, most of us are not researching, and we're just like, saying that most of us are doing what I did in that gas station that day, which is saying, I don't need the receipt. You need the receipt. You need to research, okay? Because what they're doing affects your life daily for years. Some of these people hold office for 4 years, right? So for 4 years, you're going to have to deal with their bad budgeting. For 4 years, you're going to have to deal with increasing taxes, right? Or decreasing education funding. Figure out what's going on with the libraries in your county, in your city. Are they getting funded, or are they closing down because people see no value in them? I can tell you that libraries and having a library card is very beneficial to students that don't get books anymore, and if they're closing down every library in your county, I have to ask you, did you go and vote for that, or did you sit at home? That's important. If you're mad that your kid can't get into a library anywhere, it's probably because your ass didn't go down and vote for it one way or the other. And you can't blame that on anybody but yourself. Do you see liquor stores? Do you see 5 liquor stores on the corner when you drive out of your neighborhood? And if so, did you go and vote for that? Or did you not vote at all? And then the weird, shady people got to get into office, and they decided that they want 5 of their family members to have liquor stores close to each other, so that there's never any problem with you getting a bottle of Hennessy. Like we have to, or like in Gwinnett's County, vape shops. Gwinnett County has a problem. We got too many freaking vape shops. But if only 20% of the people that live in Gwinnett County are going to vote, that means 80% of the people that are not voting are basically saying it's okay to put 100 vape shops within a 5-mile radius. Okay. And do you know who's smoking the vapes? It's the children. They're literally being marketed to children every single day. Pay attention to when you see a sign about vaping. Is it colorful? Or is it like the neon sign behind me? Very muted, very one tone, one color. They're usually bright colors. Vaping, there's flavors. Thank you, Cases and Cam. He says, like the video. I appreciate you being a member for 2 months too. And if you haven't joined the Smell the Roses membership, please consider doing so. It helps my garden grow. And I appreciate you, Cases and Cams, for supporting me like that. But yeah, don't be messing with my Hennessy, Raquel. I'm not. I like Hennessy too. But we don't need 10 liquor stores on one corner. That's a bit of overkill. And we don't need 10 vape shops, on one corner. That's a bit of overkill. I'm not saying, it would be great if people didn't smoke. But I understand that people do. But it shouldn't be so easy for kids to see it. It's like the more you see it, the more it reinforces their want to try it. Okay. And according to my son, that's all they're doing in high school. Our kids are literally going to smoke their vapes in the bathroom. Right. So again, if you're in a growing metro area, like around the city of Atlanta or nearby communities, local zoning boards decide, where apartments get built, where neighborhoods stay residential, and how businesses get to expand, like those vape shops I was just talking about, or the liquor stores, right? And the county commissioner then goes to, Um, okay, generations. He says that makes no sense. Explain to your child what is wrong with tobacco products. Do you want me to raise your children? I didn't say that. I didn't say that, generations. I didn't say that. I said that if you learned about your local elections and you could curb how many vape shops were on your freaking corner. Do you want 10 vape shops on your corner? Can you answer that question for me, generations? You want 7 vape shops or 7 liquor stores. You think it's cool to have 60 vape shops within a 5-mile radius. You don't see why that would be wrong. Let's see, maybe do you think it would be wrong to have 25 strip clubs in a 5-mile radius? Do you think that strip clubs and vape shops and liquor stores help your property value go up? Or maybe you live in a double wide in the middle of nowhere, so it doesn't matter to you. And I do very much explain to my child, about vaping. So your assumption of, or whatever, or yeah, he chews tobacco, very likely, very likely. Yeah. Thank you, Ty. I mean, okay. Like you're grasping at straws, sir. No, it's a no. But let me go back to what's important, because that was crazy. Okay. But so I was saying, I was talking about apartments, neighborhoods, whether neighborhoods stay residential, right? Because here in Atlanta, you can't have a double wide next to a house like mine. Okay. A double wide has to go into a mobile home park, because people that pay good money for their brick and mortar home doesn't want a double wide park next door to it driving down the cost of my home. Okay. Um, so this is why voting matters. Okay. Since we don't want to talk about freaking vape stores and smoking cessation, maybe I'll draw the connection, or you can understand me better if I talk about a brick and mortar home versus a double wide. If you can't understand why you don't want your brick and mortar home next to a double wide, then you have bigger fish to fry, sir. Okay. Um, then there's infrastructure. My county, right? My county commissioners, they decide infrastructure spending, right? Public transportation routes or budget allocations, right? Do you want to have public transportation? Like some of us here in Gwinnett County, we don't want to drive into work with our cars. We don't. So what we'll do is we'll drive to a MARTA station to get to use the public transit, or we'll park in certain areas where they will pick us up on like a separate transit, so that they can get us in and out of the city, right? Which is really helpful, because that reduces the mileage on our cars, but is still really helpful in getting us to where we need to go, right? And then we have the school boards, and they determine curriculum standards. Like my son's school is one of the only schools that offer calculus. Okay. Um, that is important, right? Because when he gets to college, he'll be very well prepared for a statistics course. He'll be very well prepared to understand what to expect, because he would have taken those harder math classes. So if he wants to move into engineering and possibly go to tech, he'll have that background. That was very important to me, right? Now, maybe if you don't have kids, that's curriculum in school, or maybe your kids are grown and older and moved on, maybe that's not important. But for us with kids in school, book policies are important, and whoever our superintendent is important. And again, here in Georgia, we've had some issues with book policies, like many of you all. Um, Across the country have dealt with, you know, LGBTQ books in your child's school, or trans books in your child's school. And so these things matter to parents, right? Do these books that these schools have in their library encourage certain behavior, right? And is the superintendent that you voted for and hired, are they doing what they're supposed to do with the money allocated to the county for those schools? Or are they just busting the budget on hiring their family members and spending money on things that don't matter, like cars or God knows what? Like, there were two ladies on a school board in Miami that are getting a lot of jail time because they were misappropriating funds, basically funneling the state or the county money into their pockets. All right. That's not a good thing. So again, in Gwinnett County, voter turnout is shockingly low, and it's usually under 20%. That means a small group of organized voters can shape an entire community, right? So when you see things you don't like, again, I'm asking you, did your behind get out there and vote? Because if you didn't, then you're giving these people, this very small group of people, are determining how you get to live and what your backyard looks like, right? So power isn't always at the top. Sometimes it's literally right down the street. All right, so now I'm just going to open up the lines for a little bit. Let's see, let me copy this link and drop it. You guys can tell me how you vote, or if you vote at all. I just dropped the link in the chat if you're interested to come and talk to me about the topic. Not about what's going on in these ghetto YouTube streets. I am willing to talk to you about it. Yeah, because I want to know, do you care about what's going on locally? And was there something that I missed? I know I talked a lot about school because school matters a lot to me. My son is 15. He's in his sophomore year of high school. I want him to get into a good college. He wants to go to Georgia Tech. Hopefully he'll get a partial scholarship or a full scholarship, and I won't have to pay that big amount of money for him. But it matters to me. I want him to go to the best school that he can. I picked where I live based off of the school system. And I vote in my local elections because it's important to me to keep his school on the up and up, to know who's responsible for what's going on around me. The roads that lead to those schools, the stores that are within a 5-mile radius of the school, the stores that are up the street from my house, all of that stuff matters to me. So, yeah. The deeper question is, why does this matter beyond politics? Yeah, he's definitely in sports, Chelsea, and he's in a German club and a beta club, and he does a bunch of volunteer work because you got to do a lot on top of sports. You got to have good grades. So I have him in swimming. He does those clubs, and then I also have a tutor for him so he can get some extra help with like chemistry. But yeah. Yeah. But I mean, voting is like one of the only few direct levers everyday citizens have. We don't really have much power if we're not voting. When you're not voting, you're allowing things to happen to you. You're not affecting any changes in your life. You're just letting things happen to you. You may not control the federal budget and you may not control the global market, but you totally control whether um, you can research your ballot, whether you participate in the primaries in your area, or whether you know who represents your district. Those are the things that you totally freaking control. Oh, y'all want to know where Winston is? No. So Winston is with my husband. They're in the kitchen right now whipping up some lunch. Like my son has a birthday party to go to. Um, so uh, yeah, my son has a birthday party to go to, and I didn't want Winston to interrupt me because I have had to take calls all afternoon and all morning because of a Rolling Stone article. So I've been very stressed out. I don't know if y'all can hear it in my voice, but Rolling Stone came out with an article that is just like ruined my Monday morning at work on my real job. Um, and yeah, I just didn't have the bandwidth to be tending to Winston and tending to the chat and you all here today. Um, so I kind of kicked him out, but he's having a good time with my husband. When my husband cooks, if Winston stays in his place without bugging my husband when he cooks, my husband gives him lots of little treats. He doesn't do that. I don't give him treats when I cook because he doesn't stay in his place the way he's supposed to. I have to literally keep walking him back to his place because I don't like him to be in the kitchen when I am cooking. No, you don't have to be on video, lions and lambs. You don't have to be on video. And that's a cute puppy there. Is that a Rottweiler? I have a Doberman Pinscher. I've been thinking about getting a Rottweiler. As they're just so big and they're so drooly. But no, you don't have to be on camera. You don't have to be on camera, especially if I'm familiar with you. You don't have to be on camera. Um, but maybe, yeah, totally come on. You don't have to be on camera. I would love to hear from you all. Are you all voting? Do you see any kind of, have I empowered you to kind of like do some research about your area? Where do you live? Do you know about politics at all? Do you feel like you're affected by it? Do you not care about it at all? Do you think that these are silly conversations, that voting doesn't matter? I know a lot of people say, oh, I don't know, I don't participate in that. It's just like, really? What? Well, it participates with you. Whether you participate in it or not, it affects you, it affects your children, it affects your wives and husbands, it affects your local produce, it affects your law enforcement, it affects your schools, it affects everything around you. So whether you think you participate in it or not, it literally participates with you. So you should know about it. You should know about it. Yeah. Let's see, what is the chat saying? Oh, Chelsea, okay. She says, my friends have Great Danes. Those are huge dogs. Yes. My grandmother had a Great Dane. Huge. The thing about Great Danes, they're so sweet, but they don't really have long lives. Like they live for about 7, 8 years, I think. Um, yeah. But they are the sweetest dogs. My grandmother's dog would literally, I mean, he could help her walk, he could help her carry groceries. He never needed a leash. He did jump the fence a few times, and my grandmother had a huge fence around her house. And he would jump the fence. But he was the sweetest dog. They just don't live long. I think they have heart issues. I think that's what he passed away from. Lion says, okay, bet I'll call in when you have a topic I disagree with you on. For this, I'll derail. Okay, all right, that's cool. I would appreciate it if y'all came up to like help me make these arguments for people to vote. Sometimes, like, I don't always want to fight with people. It would be nice if we could agree, but I totally understand you on that. Um, Okay, Chelsea. Yeah, she was like, that's what I was going to say. Not long lives. My friends passed and they got another. Yeah, they're sweet dogs. My grandma, she didn't get another one because she just couldn't handle it. But my family, like between my mother and me, we like German Shepherds and Dobermans. Um, one is a herd dog and one is a guard dog. I kind of like am on the fence with German Shepherds. I kind of feel like they're guard dogs because one literally saved my life when I was a little girl. Um, I don't know what that man was going to do to me, but I know that my dog knew that he was a bad guy. And before I could even realize that the guy was following me, my dog like ran past me and at him and scared the shit out of that man. But I was in a really weird little situation that I didn't even know I was in until I saw my dog just come out of nowhere, and he literally attacked this man. um, yeah, it was crazy. My neighbors had to call the dog back. It was like a whole thing. When I was little, I was probably about 9 years old when that happened. um, Okay, your sister had two German Shepherds. Yeah, I love German Shepherds. My husband doesn't want us to have one because they shed a lot. Not that Dobermans don't shed. It's just their hair is very little and it's very heavy, so it doesn't stick to your clothes easily when you do like this with your clothes. The Doberman's hair is so heavy that it falls off easily. But you know, with German Shepherds, their hair is a bit softer, so it sticks. Like you literally need that rolling paper to get it off of you. He doesn't like that. He's very bougie, my husband. He doesn't want the dog hair on his polo. Yeah, I think he totally did. I think that dogs have a sixth sense. Because even my Doberman the other morning, he just stopped. I take him out at about 5:15 in the morning, and we stay out until about 6 because I have to let him have his enrichment time, and I have to run him before I go to work so that he's not tearing up the house going crazy when I'm away for 8 hours. But the other morning he just like planted and he would not move. And so I just, because I can't see everything that's around us because it's so pitch black outside, I just waited. And I'm glad that I did because we waited and this man just came out of the woods. I don't think he saw us. Like Winston growled just a little bit. Like the things with Doberman is like when it's something serious, they don't make a sound. That's what I'm starting to understand. He just planted, he growled a little bit, but once the man passed us and got out of eyesight, he started moving again. And the last time that happened, it was an animal. It was a deer, but it was a male deer with huge antlers. And he just kind of planted, and I kept trying to get him to like, come on, come on. And he wouldn't move. And as soon as I just was like, okay, fine, that deer just came like walking straight past us. I was like, oh my God, did Winston know that deer was coming? And yeah, he had to have known. He had to have known. Do y'all want to talk about dogs? Y'all would rather talk about dogs than voting. Y'all would rather talk about dogs than voting. I totally get that. It's a boring subject, but listen, guys, like it's something that we all have to freaking understand. Okay. Like I absolutely agree with you that it is boring, but these things affect you. You know, some of the things that y'all hate Donald Trump for are literally things that are not within his control and totally within the control of your local and state government. So it's like we gotta do better in that instant, right? Like we gotta do better. Chelsea is like off topic about the dogs. Yeah, yeah. All because of DeAndre asking me where's Winston. Yeah. No, mobile homes are cool. Cases and cams. Um, my husband has properties, and I've looked up mobile homes because I've seen some really nice mobile home communities here in Georgia. But you can't put a mobile home next to in a residential area that's marked for brick and mortar homes. So it literally here in Georgia, you have to put the mobile home in a mobile home park, or you can move it to a piece of land that might be outside of a residential neighborhood. And but if you do that, you have to permanently affix it to the land. That means it doesn't stay on wheels anymore. You're putting the mobile home on brick and mortar foundation. But I'm not against mobile homes. Um, so yeah, you can totally put a mobile home on a piece of land, and you could, but here in Georgia, you have to permanently affix it. I think if it's not in a mobile home community. Um, and because then you don't pay because here in Georgia it's like a vehicle, right? So it's the title is with the DMV, but once you permanently affix it to the land, it comes out of the DMV and it goes into county property or city property. Um, but I've only looked that up for DeKalb County and Gwinnett County. Um, I haven't looked that up for the city of Atlanta. I've never seen a mobile home in the city of Atlanta or Fulton County. But just because I haven't seen it doesn't mean it's there. I'm not trying to rip on mobile homes. Um, my cousin Roland and my cousin Marilyn, they live in mobile homes in rural Georgia. Um, so no shade to mobile homes. It was just really to the commenter that had said that I need, so you want me to teach your son about smoking. That I was just trying to Ty really led me down that Ty Ty led me down that little rabbit hole. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to degrade mobile homes at all. Um No, it's okay, DeAndre. It's okay. I'm actually glad that y'all kind of are here to talk to me because I've had such a bad day. What's up, Repink? It's good to see you, friend. It's good to see you. What's up? Uh, yeah. It is such a bad day today. Woo. Y'all have no idea. Y'all have literally no idea what is going on. I wish I could talk to y'all about the article that came out in Rolling Stone, but um we'll see what happens on the Monday news circuit. If it comes out crazily on Monday, it might be in the Rose report. So I'm just counting the time until Monday morning. We'll see what happens. Well, let me drop the link again. Nobody wants to come up and talk to me. What's going on? What's going on? Is there more drama on these YouTube streets going on that I don't know about? Because it's been a lot of drama all week, right? Like crazy. I dropped the link again. Dre the Dream. Good afternoon, friend. Good afternoon, friend. Did y'all hear about Cam Newton? Did y'all hear about Cam Newton? I think he might be a little upset with himself for saying that he can't be friends with women. I heard he got dropped by BT for that comment. It's not wrong for you to feel that way, but it might not be in your best interest to say that on a national public stage where some of the executives that are your bread and butter can feel a certain type of way about that. So, oh my God, I got something in my eye. I'm sorry, y'all. I got too much moisturizer on my face and I've rubbed it into my eye. But yeah, let's see. His funny looking ass got canceled by the chef hats. Yeah, he should not have said that publicly. He should not have said that publicly. Poor Cam. He never learns, right? He never learns. He doesn't know when to pick up a ball. He doesn't know when to shut his mouth. He doesn't know, when or when not to wear his soft pants. Hey, Project Leroy. How are you today, sir? Do you vote, Project Leroy? Can you disclose? I don't want to know like what party you vote for. But do you vote at all? Do you vote locally in your local elections? Let me take this down. There was something that y'all put in my Discord. Let's see if I can pull up my Discord real quick. There was something y'all dropped in my Discord that I wanted to cover. Maybe we can cover that today because it is political. And I fixed my computer. I was doing some work for Jeff and I messed up my browser. So it was like a whole new browser and I couldn't see my Discord anymore. But there was something y'all dropped in the Discord. Oh yeah, let's talk about this. Okay, hold on. Let me pause it. I'll bring it up. Y'all hear that? There's Winston. Y'all wanted to hear Winston. There he goes. He's screaming at a squirrel. He's mad that the squirrel is on my front porch. All right. So y'all dropped this in my Discord. This is really crazy, super crazy. Project Leroy says, do I answer the phone and ask local Democrat Party to put reparations on the board for me to vote? Yes. Do they call me back? Nope. Understood, sir. Understood. There you go, DeAndre, Dre the Dream. Hey, Winston. Yeah. My husband came and got him real quick. Okay, so let me remove this and let me add this. Wait. Remove from studio and add this to the stage. Okay, so y'all drop this in the Discord. I guess we can review this before I have to go and take my son to this birthday party. Now, if you all are unaware with Professor Black Truth, you guys need to get familiar with him ASAP, okay? He is the truth, all right? Literally the best, okay? This video, I appreciate y'all for dropping it in the Discord because I had heard about this, but not through the lens of YouTube. I heard about it at work through other channels. Okay, so let's watch this video from Professor Black Truth. It's super interesting. Okay, but if it does involve some sensitive content, so if you have children around and you're watching this on TV, maybe like switch to your phone or your tablet or something, but or send them out of the room the way that my mom used to send me out of the room. All right.
Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the professor, and this is the moment of truth. And now the Friday Crime Report. Pawtucket, Rhode Island, Monday, February 16th, 2026, 2:30 p.m. Yes, it has happened again. The site of the carnage this time, where else? A school shooting, because that's the place of choice for these lunatics. This time it was a little bit different. The shooter wasn't one of the students, but this was one of the parents. And sadly, even that isn't necessarily a novelty. I've covered for you a number of these school shootings being carried out by adults. But everything else about this latest carnage tracks with all the other incidents, and just like all the others, the white media refuses to connect the dots because they know where it will lead. The scene of the latest kill spree was the Dennis Lynch Arena, where a high school hockey game was taking place, an event where there were no black people present, by the way. The shooter immediately made a beeline for one woman in particular, gunned her down, then the man who was with her. He also shot and wounded 3 other people, a couple of elderly folks who were with the woman and her son, along with another middle-aged man. That was when the shooter killed himself. He would later be identified as 56-year-old Robert Dorgan. The first person he killed was his ex-wife, Rhonda, and their son, Aidan Dorgan. He then went on to wound the grandparents, Linda and Gerald Dorgan, as well as a family friend, Tom Garuso. Police say that they're still trying to find out what the exact motive was for this kill spree, but the reality is, it doesn't really matter with these guys. Now, the story of Robert Dorgan only becomes more unusual from there. First of all, he allegedly had a gender reassignment surgery in 2020, and at this point was now allegedly going by the name Roberta Esposito. Robert and Rhonda got married in 1992, but the marriage ended in February of 2020 when Rhonda Dorgan filed for divorce. In the divorce filings, Rhonda had originally said that Robert's gender reassignment surgery and his narcissistic personality traits were her grounds for the divorce. But at some point thereafter, she changed it, crossed out that description, and wrote, "irreconcilable differences." One gets the feeling that phrase was doing a lot of heavy lifting. And as for Robert, or Roberta, that didn't stop this person from deciding to let everybody know that they were proud of their new identity and you better not question it. Now, when these incidents happen, which is every day, we always get the dominant society going into the usual routine where they try to play dumb and act like they don't know how this could have happened. Gee, if only someone had posted something online that would have given a clue that this guy was thinking about killing people. Well, as it turns out, that's exactly what he did. He had been posting at least once that if people kept bashing transgenders like himself, then they shouldn't wonder why they go berserk. And he made sure to put the word berserk in all caps. Now, if this had been a black person who was making threats online, the cops would have been all over them, and it would make the news. But as we've seen time and time and time again, racial immunity from the law makes it where the so-called authorities don't do anything about certain people. But the reality is this punk had more red flags than a Chinese parade. His social media was a smorgasbord of threatening and unhinged behavior. This demonic creature was filling its mind, such as it was, with all kinds of right-wing lunacy, from reruns of election fraud conspiracy theories to a constant stream of anti-black racist sewage. And of course, you find that he loves the usual suspects like Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones. In fact, when it came to Alex Jones, this creep had a real love affair with that guy. It seems this idiot from InfoWars was a daily obsession for this killer. And he revered other psychopathic murderers, so he wished Robert Lee, of all people, a happy birthday. Keep in mind, Robert Dorgan was a white man from Rhode Island, a Yankee, and yet he made it a point to celebrate a traitor who killed Yankees. It just goes to show what a complete fraud the whole intersectional identity thing is. In fact, he reposted a Twitter tweet that mocked the death of that female U.S. Army pilot whose helicopter collided midair with that airliner last year. A tweet that mocked her death as being caused by DEI. You see, you got somebody here who was a member of the LGBT community. In fact, they were threatening people if you decided not to respect their pronouns. And yet this exact same individual spent most of their time talking about how bad black people are and how important whiteness is. That's because this guy understood that whiteness is what his position in the world was based on. Not what gender he chose to identify as, and not anything else. This murderer understood that his whiteness was the overriding, overarching absolute that had to be protected at all costs, not gender identification. This is a culture that we're dealing with here, one that is protected, sanctioned, and encouraged by this sick society. Because you won't be surprised to learn that this racist Robert What's-His-Name had numerous children by numerous women, at least a half dozen. So he's a typical deadbeat baby daddy on top of everything else, which the white media never shows you. And predictably, one of his spawn was named Kevin Calantonio. This guy set fire to a black church in 2024. During the investigation, the police found notebooks full of Kevin Calantonio's rantings. In one entry, he wrote, quote, "Hunt them down, gun everyone down that isn't white. If one is white, spread the gospel. Always give our bloodline a chance." Always give our bloodline a chance? Really? Now, this is typical white supremacist dogma, but I gotta wonder how this creep's fellow white supremacist would feel knowing that his father, or was it mother, is a transgender? And how do the white supremacists feel knowing that this guy killed at least 2 white people and injured 3 others? But then again, the racist right wing ideology isn't the most important thing to these people. The most important thing is have white children, regardless of whether you bother to raise them or not. This guy is talking about giving their bloodline a chance. How does vandalizing a black church, or even harming black people for that matter, give the white bloodline a chance? White numbers are falling off a cliff, and black people have zero to do with that. How did this moron's one idiot crusade do anything to produce more white children or to keep any white people from dying? His father, on the other hand, decided, you know what, not enough white people are dying. I'd like to know what white person is safer because of this guy. This guy's father gunned down 2 white people and injured at least 3 others. I guess this must be what he meant when he said, give the white bloodline a chance. White supremacists don't have any common sense or common decency. But this is what happens when you live in a society that coddles this kind of degeneracy, lets them spout any asinine gibberish they want without correcting them or refuting them, and instead of telling them to shut up and sit down, instead the society bends over backwards to act like they might have a point. And just in case you were wondering, this Kevin Colantonio clown, he pleaded guilty to his crime, and now he's serving a 7-year sentence. But he ain't done causing trouble yet, because while he was in prison, he caught more charges, this time for throwing his bodily waste at the prison guards. This is typical low IQ behavior from the white supremacists, literally flinging their feces. Well, it's nice to see that the Neanderthals don't fall far from the cave. This is what most of these school shooters have in common: anti-black racism. That's the main thing that runs throughout all of this reprobate behavior. And just in case any of the inbred, mouth-breathing, knuckle-dragging morons from the white right tries to do their usual, that's prejudicial, no, stupid, that's pattern recognition. This is why anti-black racism must be treated as the key warning sign for these mass shootings, because in a disproportionate number of them, that's the key factor. Whether it's Dylan Roof, Nicholas Cruz, Elliot Rogers, or Robert Dorgan, all of these reprobates have the exact same mentality. The mouth-frothing anti-black racism is the main thing that drives them. They may come from different geographical areas, different political ideologies, differing gender identifications. But the anti-black racism, that is the one factor that virtually all of these mass shooters have in common. But not surprisingly, it's also the one factor that you're not allowed to point out, because to do so would indict the majority population of this country, and it would also confirm yet again that the majority of thugs with badges in this country fit the exact same description as these mass shooters. And what bag of stupid would be complete without the usual reposting of online podcasting perverts like Lily and others? This guy was basically the prototype for literally every racist troll, op, and crap poster you've ever encountered or ever heard of. But as usual, this country will do what it always does: hit the collective snooze button and pretend as if this latest bloodbath didn't happen. And even if they have to confront it, well, we're certainly not going to admit to why it happened. But the sad truth is, if you want to stop the next savage mass murder before it happens, then you have to be honest about why the last mass murder happened. Anti-black racism is the warning sign. If the thugs in blue treated the violent racist thugs like this Robert Dorgan and his son the same way that they treat law-abiding black citizens, then these atrocities could never happen. But then again, when you look at who the police are and what they believe and how they act, they're exactly like the killer was, only without the wig. So pay no attention to the usual chattering mouths on the white media who will say, yet another place that isn't safe. This entire society is not safe, because this entire society is not based on justice. It's based on anti-black racism. That is the poison that flows through its veins. And until this nation decides that it's going to stop re-injecting itself with anti-black hate and to excise the cancer that it's taken upon itself, then the country will yet again have to hold its breath and wait for the next disaffected, sawed-off idiot with a gun and a phony grudge to come along and vent his unjustified rage. But instead, what's going to happen is they're going to do a lot of distractions talking about the gender identification thing, because that's a glittering distraction. People will be arguing about that, and they won't be talking about the real problem. So that's the goal: change the subject, which they will do. And that being the case, I recommend you stay away from any hockey games or any other places where these white supremacists tend to gather. Because when they do, the only thing your kids will learn is how to duck and cover. And that's this week's Friday Crime Report.
Oh my God. Let me copy this link for y'all. Oh, and stop sharing. That's crazy, right? Like, but what did Professor Black Truth say and all of that? He was talking about the police, and police, that's local. You have power over your police in the counties and the cities that you live in. You know, the sheriff, the commissioners of these departments, your vote has power, you know. And I agree with Professor Black Truth. Like, you know, the glittery part will be, you know, the transgender identity, right? But, you know, is this about transgender, or is it about violence, mental health, and the family breakdown? Because he went after his ex-wife. You know, he shot at his in-laws. You know, and what happens when we choose to just focus on the transgender part and not what Professor Black Truth was saying, that this is violence, and the people that seem to do this all have the same MO and all tend to spout the same kind of racist stuff. You know, there's too many of us here to allow this in our police departments. But I feel like the reason why it's so rampant in our police departments is because we're not doing enough local voting. If in my county, damn near less than 20% of people are voting, you know, who are those 20%? And do those 20% represent us? They likely do not. Right? You don't want to have a racist sheriff in your county, then you need to get your butt out there and vote. And you need to make sure all of the people that look like you, that you are around, that live in your county, are out there voting to make sure that doesn't happen. Right? It's crazy to me that he did this at a hockey game, you know, a children's hockey game. Right. I mean, yeah, incompetent police ignoring those threats. Yeah, because they identify with that crap. You know, they're identifying with it. You know, they're probably not identifying with the fact that he's transgender and went and got a sexual reassignment surgery, but you know, that is crazy. Two people were deleted, his ex-wife and his adult son. His adult son was supposed to get married this summer, and his ex-in-laws were injured. And then his cowardly ass, instead of standing up and freaking atoning for his crime, he decided to delete himself. And although, you know, the police and the major news networks are saying that this was a targeted attack, he targeted these people in a public place, and bullets don't have names on them. So this is literally a public conversation. It's not just gun violence, it's not just domestic conflict or, you know, identity. It's crazy. It makes me so sad, you know, like we have to figure out a better way to like deal with these people that we see online that are spewing this kind of hatred, you know, like he was online crashing out a lot, you know. And sometimes it's like, oh my God, why? And it's like when tragedies happen, where is the first place people look? They look to see what this person was doing online. And there were clearly signs online that he was like spiraling out of control. And you saw that they brought up Lily, that he was like watching her. You see how a YouTuber, an online personality, can like stir someone's madness. Like, I'm trying to use my channel for good and to educate us on how we can protect ourselves from shady police, shady politicians, you know, but other people are on here, you know, stirring up hysteria in people. You know, the fact that this guy identified as a transgender is like the main talking point online. And some people argue that it was relevant and it should not be ignored. And other people were arguing that highlighting it was irresponsible and stigmatizing. Either way, I think it's a little bit of everything, you know. Um, Clearly, I think mental health was there. I think that there was a mental health issue, and I think that kind of showed itself in the fact that he was transgender, but then it showed itself even more when you saw what he was posting um to Lily. Yeah, to Lily Blackface Gaddis. Yeah, right? Or to these other places, and some other, transgender man was being very threatening, to politicians. So they should be worried too on the Hill. Be aware of what's around you and what these people are idolizing online. Be weary, because it wasn't random. It wasn't random. Like, if there's the signs were there. I don't know. Even though it seems deeply personal, um, for him, it put a lot of people in jeopardy. All of those people that were at the game. Um, yeah. So I appreciate y'all dropping that in my Discord. When I saw that, I was like, yeah, that's a good topic to cover. Um, but like, a lot of people didn't hear about this story, and I wonder why. A lot of y'all were like, wow. No, yeah, totally. They can be LGBTQ and still be anti-black. Of course, of course. And that's exactly what Professor Black Truth was saying. His ideologies fall right in line with, straight racist police officers, sheriffs. I think I was just talking about New Jersey. There was a town, I forget what county it was, where let me ask Google, what state and county was the sheriff um, pulling over black people because he wanted an all-white town. Because I keep talking about it, but I don't know. It was McCurtain County. I think this is in the state of Oklahoma in 2003. The sheriff, see, this is a local election. The sheriff in McCurtain County, his name is Kevin Clarday, along with other officials, was recorded in a leaked audio conversation making racist remarks. The recording included comments that were about lynching Black people, references to wanting to return to a time when Black residents were not present, statements widely interpreted as expressing support for an all-white community. The recording caused national outrage and led to calls for the resignation and investigation, right? And then Brookside, Alabama comes up, where the police department was investigated for disproportionately stopping drivers as part of aggressive revenue enforcement. And I think one time on, when I was on with Gavin and Mr. Walker, people were giving me pushback about when I was talking about Alabama. And I was saying, you don't want to be in Alabama with marijuana, because they're literally stopping Black drivers for whatever reason they want to, and locking them up and throwing away the key for like less than a joint. And it has nothing to do with the literal law, and it has everything to do with the color of your skin and the fact that they don't want you there in the first place. But if they have you in their jail, they can include you in their population and get federal dollars from the government, because now that you're a part of their population, you increase those numbers, so you get them more money from the federal government. You see? Like, so this is why it's important for you all to know who the hell you're voting for and why you're voting for them. Um, it's really sad. It's really sad, but this is like real stuff. And again, in this McCurtain County in Oklahoma, this was a sheriff. You know, people voted for him, or people didn't vote at all, and less than 20% of people went and voted, and that's who they picked. So you have to wonder, was it the people that looked like him that voted for him? Or was it people that looked like us that voted for him? Or was the reason why it was so easy for him to become the sheriff because nobody like us went out and freaking voted locally? You know, it's sad, y'all. It's sad, but um I I don't know. We could talk about what happened with that transgender person all day. You know, I don't think that there could have been anything to stop him from hurting his wife, or his older child. He took his older child out. I think his younger child was the one playing in the hockey game, and that was the reason why it's there. But the media, this is another reason why we don't trust the big media outlets, because they rather pick the way, like, they rather hone in on this guy's sexual identity than hone in on the fact that he had racist ideologies. And why is it that they can be like so racist to us, but they do violence onto each other? I'm not, it's just so weird to me. It's weird, right? How do you want to empower your race by hurting your race at the same time? Oh my God. When identity aligns with a political narrative, that's what they're going to push. And that's why we don't trust them. Because these Democrats want to push this weird stuff on us all the time. The LGBTQ, the sexual reassignment. I was just talking about Miss America pageants and how now they're letting transgenders be a part of the Miss America pageant, right? It's just like it complicates the narrative. It's weird, and people like us, the normies, we're just noticing the patterns. Like, it racist people have lower IQs. I agree with that. I agree with that because they're just not open to learning or growing or understanding that we can be different and still want the same things. If they're morally correct, if they're above board. I don't think any of us want to just be going to a Hawks game or our kids' hockey game or swim meet and have to deal with somebody, pulling out a gat and popping the person next to them. None of us want to deal with that, but we could all probably agree that we should have some tougher gun laws. My color and your color don't have to be the same for us to agree with that, right? You shouldn't be able to bring a gun into a child's school event. And if you do, I feel like the punishment should be more severe. If we start assigning collective blame to people that act like this every time someone commits a crime, uh, I think we would see less and less and less of this. Yeah. But what are y'all saying in the chat? Synthetic hormones haven't been studied long enough to know the full effects. Because if people close to them aren't racist, they see it as race traitors. Ooh, that's a great point. That's a great point. So maybe his older son was a target because his older son had different ideologies than him. That's a great point, Dre the Dream. It's stupid to say racist people have lower IQs. I mean, hating somebody just purely based off the color of their skin, you don't think that that's kind of foolish? I mean, hating somebody because they did something poor to you, something horrible to you is understandable, but just hating the sight of someone that looks black or white or Asian, I don't know. I don't know. Laws don't fix society. Laws don't fix it, but they can definitely influence the way societies move. If you got your hand chopped off because you stole and people saw you getting your hand chopped off because you stole something, that might, deter someone from going to steal. There has to be punishment. There has to be a way to hold people accountable for their bad deeds. And that's the whole point. And punishment is to deter people from just wanting to just be rogue and roguish. It's a lot. It's a lot, but it's important. You know, we got to do better at learning the laws of our counties, our cities, our states, and we got to do better at affecting change where we want to see it, you know? You guys are going in the comments. Oh, Kennard. He says, how are Black people so strong, but we've spent hundreds of years trying to get white people to like us? Ooh, that is oh, wow. Okay. There are several brilliant politicians, doctors, and lawyers, etc., who are racist. Calling them stupid lowers their uh lowers our threat assessment, our a threat assessment. So, Emmanuel, who are the brilliant doctors, lawyers, and politicians who are racist? Can you name a few of them for me? Can you name some so I can see what makes them so brilliant to you? Oh, okay. I'm a white man, but I live in Poland, so we don't have that racial bullshit. Okay. Okay. I've never been to Poland. I have some Bosnian friends, and I lived in West Germany when the wall was up. And I know that when I lived in Berlin, there were definitely people that were racist there. Um, Now, people treated them very poorly. Like if we noticed a skinhead out in public, Germans didn't treat skinheads very kindly. Um, um, I don't think that in European countries, I don't think that it's as popular to outwardly show that you are racist towards a group of people from the history, from the H guy. I don't want to say his name because I don't want to get flagged in the algorithm, but you know who I'm talking about, the guy with the little mustache right here that was working his way through Germany at one point of time, and the EU with his racism towards a certain group of people. But yeah, I don't think you see it. It's not as popular as you see it here in the States. In the States, people like to, I'm in here in Georgia, so people like to show their racism on like their license plates, by how they like by putting the Confederate flag on their license plate or flying the Confederate flag in their yard. Like some people like to showcase the colleges that they went to, or the sports teams that they like the Atlanta Braves or the Atlanta Falcons or the Atlanta Hawks. Some people like to fly the Confederate flag, and the Confederacy wanted to keep slavery So a lot of people will say here in Georgia, oh, just because they have the Confederate flag on their bumper sticker or on their license plates or whatever, wherever they have it, it doesn't mean that they're racist. I disagree with that. Because if you're promoting that, that means that you wanted the South to win. You wanted the Confederacy to win and not let slaves off of the plantation. To me, that has to be racist. Yeah, the German hit guy. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great way of putting it for someone. I appreciate that. Yes. Yeah, that's the whole South, Raquel. Yeah, you start to see it a lot when you drive out of North Carolina and come down South Carolina, get into Georgia. I tell people all the time, I'm very fearful of the state of Alabama. I mean, you can like feel it. The last time I was in Alabama, I went to a mom and pop. We stopped at a mom and pop ice cream store, and it took me a minute to understand that they didn't want to serve us. And I felt so dumb afterwards. I felt so dumb when I realized why they made us wait so long before they served us, because there was literally nobody in line and nobody at the store. Um, and then when I finally got what I ordered and it dawned on me why the exchange was so weird, I just threw my ice cream away and got the hell out of there. And I never want to go back there. I never want to go back to Alabama. Yeah, there's people are saying Alabama, Indiana too. Never been to Indiana, but I've heard. Oh goodness. Okay, yeah, Ohio, mad racist for real, for real. Really? The state of Ohio. I didn't know that. I would think that Ohio would be a little bit more progressive. I mean, because they say that the second place in the country for fraud outside of Minnesota was Ohio. And then doesn't Ohio, or is that Idaho, with the Mormons community? I thought they were kind of like a little bit more open to different races, but I could be wrong. Yeah, Outkast and Little John both have Confederate flags on their album covers. Yeah, that's more of like a fuck you. You gotta, in order for you to understand that, you have to listen to the lyrics. That's more of a fu to the people that want to claim it as their own. Right. It's more to say that we live here, we live under this kind of ideology, and we still made it despite you trying to put your foot on our necks. So everything isn't exactly what it seems, right? You need to be able to like read in between the lines. Wow, I didn't know that. Ohio is extremely racist, and um, Indian is the Klan's last hub. Wow. Okay. Indiana is the Klan's last hub. Okay. East Cleveland police are terrible. Well, funny, haha. People, you need to get the people out there in East Cleveland to get their votes up locally. In order to get those police people to get a better, ideology, you got to get the people out of there that are running them. You got to really get the people out that you guys don't want to be there. Yeah, DeAndre, we don't have time to explain that. We don't have time to explain that. These people will use anything to like try to move the goalposts. That doesn't matter. That Thank you for helping me explain. Thank you. But yeah, Stillmatic Network with G Honda. I can't with you. Really? I got my soft pants on proudly. Thank you for being a member, sir. That makes me awesome. I need to come be a member on your channel too. I'm going to make sure to do that today. And Ty, are you monetized yet? I need to be I need to come over there and become a member of your channel too. It's been hard for me to looking and watching everybody's content because I've been working so much on my own, but um I'm going to start getting better at putting y'all on the docket. It's hard, right? Doing your own content, looking for content to cover and all of that. So I apologize that I've been neglectful. I've just been trying to like understand my channel a little better and the things that my audience wants to see. I have two videos coming up that I'm going to be recording tomorrow. One is on paternity fraud that I think is very interesting. And the other one, because I talked about paternity fraud the other night, and there's some people in the comments that really touched my heart with like personal stories of their own. I did get a few trolls, so it empowered me to like write up a whole report on paternity fraud. I mean, I spent the entire night just writing down different points that I want to discuss in the video. So y'all look out for that. And the other video I'm still working on. It's a bit salacious, but I'm working on delivering more videos to you all, brightening up my thumbnails. I've been talking to other content creators. I'm trying to get Theo Coop on the channel for a Monday Rose report. I emailed him today. I just had Jeff on the channel on Thursday, which was super cool. I'd say thank you to all of y'all for supporting me during that episode. He was talking about how crazy it was because he's never saw so many super chats. We had over 500 comments in the comment section, which was super cool. So many super chats. I got my first $100 super chat. It was super cool. I appreciate y'all supporting the show so much. So y'all have just been encouraging me to like, reach out to people for more collabs. So I'm going to be trying to do that too. So yeah, and I want to put together a panel. So y'all look out for me. I might be reaching out to some of y'all that also do content to do a panel so that y'all can help me talk about these, issues that we see in the news, like politics or, the gender discussion. I'm always on other panels talking about it, but I don't really get to say much. So I've been thinking about having my own damn panel. Yeah, but yeah, I appreciate y'all so much. But I went over my time today and nobody came up, even though I dropped the link a few times. I need to take my son to this birthday party. He texted me. He said, "Mommy, it's time to go." Yeah. Yeah. But I love you guys so much. Thanks for hanging out with me. I would appreciate if you guys did your due diligence, right, and learned about your county, your city, and your state representatives and who are going to be on your ballots in November. Okay. I think it's important that we do a better job at voting locally. Okay. And I appreciate all of y'all for rocking with me, whether you agree with me or not on these topics. I mean, it can't hurt to educate yourself. Call it Under the Roses. What? Okay. All right. My panel, Under the Roses, or my soft pants Saturday panel. How about that? Anyway, it was good rocking out with y'all. Look out for me next Saturday. We'll have another political discussion. And I'll think of Charlotte is the one on the right now. Hold on. Okay. All right, Gihanna. I don't know what's going on, but yes, the Rosebud panel. Yeah. I like that one. Not Under the Roses. Like, I don't want to get in trouble. You see how y'all doing Anton and Mika. I don't want to be under nothing but my husband's thumb, or he will snatch this computer away from me and y'all will never see me again. Okay. He don't play that. He does not play that. The G Honda bonnet fun panel. No, Emmanuel. I don't know what's going on with you today. I don't know what's going on with you today, Emmanuel. Come on now. The G Honda bonnet fun panel. That's funny. That's funny. Aw, thank you. I funny haha. He says, we will do better to be the best. Thank you. Yes, thank you. I appreciate you so much. Yes, we need to. Are you in East Cleveland? If so, like I will do an episode on why the hell East Cleveland has such a bad rap. I didn't know that they did. Hey, International Quiet Storm, you would come in when I'm leaving. It's good to see you, sir. I'm keeping my jokes to myself. Thank you, Ty Pro. Come on now. Maybe my panel will be mending fences, mending our YouTube problems, you know? Maybe I can be a bridge to fixing the way that we fight with each other online. Okay? Because it's very hard to it's very hard to keep up with who doesn't like who. And I know I'm guilty of it too. Like I did extend an olive branch to tyranny. It does not seem to work. You know, I know it's not easy. But you know, I hate when Fatty and them fight, and I hate when, you know, people from my chat fight with each other. I would love to, you know, for things to be peaceful again and for us to learn and have fun together. Maybe that is an outlandish idea, but yeah, she does not love me. Shut up, G Honda. You know that girl don't love me. But yeah, you know, if I can extend the olive branch to tyranny, I feel like other people can bury the hatchet and we can move on and learn and grow. And you know what? We're not all going to see eye to eye. Doesn't mean we have to fall out with each other. You know, like I get it. Like, yeah, Emmanuel, some personalities don't mix. I get it. I know. But we don't have to be like online to each other. You know, we can just ignore each other in the chat. You know, maybe not go at each other on the panel, but sometimes I might like two people that I want to have on a panel, and they might not like each other and not want to come because the other one's going to be there. That would hurt me, you know? So I don't know. Y'all just think about it. Just think about it. And y'all know who I'm talking to. I'm not going to put anything on blast. Yes, and listen to the International Quiet Storm. Y'all hit the like button for me. But I have to go. I have to take my son to a birthday party for a little girl. But I'm not going to be a hater. I'm going to take them. They're going to have their little dinner. And then I have to go pick them up. But I love y'all very much. Thanks for stopping by to smell the roses and coming into the rose garden with me. Thank you to the members. Thank you for thinking about becoming a member. Thank you, iFunny Haha, for your contribution to the rose garden today. G Honda for being a member for 2 months, and Cases in Cam. Thank you so much. You're not only a member, but you're also like one of my first subbies, and you put me on to a lot of people in these YouTube streets that I happen to love and look up to a lot. So I appreciate you. G Honda, he will not be bringing roses. He will be bringing a birthday card and a gift card. Okay. Yes, and thank you also to the International Quiet Storm. You've been a member for 5 months. That's just about as long as I've been monetized. I appreciate you so much, sir. Your support is very much appreciated. I love all of y'all. I will see y'all later. Okay, y'all be good and be sweet to each other. And I will see you all on. I might see y'all Sunday over on Fatty and Ali's channel. I might be doing the ladies first panel, but you'll definitely see me back here on Monday night at 9 p.m. Okay. And look out for any video drops. Okay. Because I'll be dropping that paternity test video tomorrow. All right. I love you guys. Bye bye. Yeah, Gihanna said that's expensive. Yeah, I know. I know. My son ain't no Rudy Poo. He can't show up empty-handed, but I don't want him giving nobody any roses because that, I'm not encouraging all of that just yet. But, get her a little gift card, get her a little card and some flowers. Some flowers is for later on. For flowers is like prom, homecoming. This is just a little birthday party. I support you. Here's to another year around the sun. Whatever. Kennard, I can't with you. See, I can't with y'all. I love y'all. Stephen James, what's up, my friend? What's up? I'll see y'all later, okay? Y'all be sweet. Bye-bye.